South Africa's new e-visa system, meant to make it easier for tourists and visitors to get into the country, is being abused, according to the Home Affairs Minister. Following a sting operation, scores of Pakistani nationals who were found not to have complied with immigration laws and failed basic immigration tests have been sent back to their own countries at their own cost. It was a joint operation between the Home Affairs Counter-Corruption Branch, the Hawk State Security and the Border Management Authority. So let's discuss this now with Gary Eisenberg, who is an immigration lawyer with Eisenberg Associates. Gary, good evening to you and welcome to Full View. You are an expert in this area, you write and you work on immigration matters. How do you see this operation and its results?
Well, I think it's great that South Africa has joined the modern international community in migrating, if I can use that word in this context, hard direct applications that are supposed to be made to foreign missions for permission to enter South Africa. These are called ports of entry visas, into a virtual exercise. These virtual exercises are becoming much easier to handle, to utilize. And I've looked at the portal and it's pretty simple to operate. And I think where this does come apart, and the minister's correct, it's subject to abuse. And the reason it's subject to abuse is because some of the documents that are uploaded onto the portal, like hotel reservations, might be fictitious, and as well as other documents. So South Africa, I think, should be very wary of operating a system without an intelligence capacity at the back end. And it came apart with regard to that fatal flight from Dubai with a contingent of 67 Pakistani nationals who lied their way through the e-visa application process.
Well, let's talk then about our e-visa system and some of these holes that you say are there, which open itself up, which open the country up to the abuse of the e-visa system. What can we learn from other governments, other countries who are getting this right? Which countries are getting it right, and what can we do better?
I think those countries that are getting the e-visa right, take, for example, Turkey, Mauritius, to name but two, their intelligence services are pretty good, and the government has marshaled intelligence resources at the back end to verify information, and they keep a very well ordered battery of information on people that have come through their doors historically. So they're very sophisticated back ends, and I think South Africa could learn a great deal from those countries, especially Turkey. It's very impressive the way they have implemented their e-visa system. They've got impressive back-end systems. And South Africa, I think just by troubleshooting its way through the future, pretty quickly will learn and catch up.
And, it seems as if this would have been then, and I think you concur, Gary, a group of chancers, and there are probably many, many others like this from different countries, couldn't answer basic immigration questions on a basic immigration test, which included questions like how long their visas entitled them to be in the country, where they were going and for what reason, because they ought to have known this, correct? Every time a person travels, they've got to familiarize themselves with the admission protocols of the country they're planning to visit.
Certainly, Iman, it's not only the e-visa that has these particular problems because of the pull factors of South Africa. We're still extremely attractive to a tremendous number of mobile individuals, especially from developing countries. Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Nigeria are just a few globally. South Africa pulls these individuals in, and they come in by hook or by crook, lying their way through using fictitious documents. And as I say, it's not only applications for e-visas, it's also applications for permanent residence and applications for work visas and business visas and so on. And South Africa has really done its best, unfortunately, with a lot of red tape to weed out these chances, and it doesn't always succeed. In fact, what South Africa has done, it's overcompensated by increasing red tape rather than efficiencies of intelligence, which has chased a lot of people away.
So certainly got a lot of work to do there, as you've said, on the back end. I want to go to some of the bigger impacts of this. The minister highlighted hotels complaining they would get bookings increasingly from, in this case, Pakistani nationals, then not showing up. That leads to a loss in potential revenue. How wide, in your observation, is the impact of this type of misrepresentation and this kind of lawlessness, really?
Yeah, I think our systems, the integrity of South Africa's immigration system and its system of citizenship as well, has been plagued for many, many years by corruption, corrupt Home Affairs officials, corrupt syndicates of people working in cahoots with Home Affairs officials. There's a great leakage, for example, of visa labels into the public sector, sold, alienated by Home Affairs officials, by the public printing works. And, the government tries its level best to stem the tide. But where these pull factors are great and the push factors are just as great in these countries like Pakistan and Nigeria and Bangladesh and India, pushing them in our direction, these things are bound to occur. And it just forces South Africa to up the ante and to increase its intelligence and police back end on not only e-visas, as I say, but also on all visa and permit applications.
Thank you so much, Gary. So I suppose in a sentence, take the win, but do better. That was Gary Eisenberg, who is with Eisenberg and Associates. He's an expert on immigration law.